to give you a little bit of information on how this is going to work today. We have some slides that we'd like to show you to dig deep into the features and functionality of the 3400i array. After that, we're going to toggle over to show you a brief demonstration of the software GUI from the technology. After the demonstration is done, we'll open up the floor to questions and answers. We would encourage you to submit questions throughout the course of the webinar. You can submit those through the chat feature, the questions feature in the actual WebEx tool. So go ahead and send those in to the moderator. We'll track those questions during the course of the session. At the point that the webinar is complete, then I will pop back in. We'll moderate the Q&A session, pose your questions to today's subject matter expert, and we will, by the way, keep those questions anonymous. My name is Mike. I'll be serving as moderator today. Giving the meat of the presentation today is James Dykowski. James is one of AMI's most senior storage solutions experts. He's been with AMI for a number of years, knows the storage products intimately, has authored a number of key thought leadership pieces, has done speaking events across the country on a range of storage topics, and most importantly has helped a number of customers across the globe implement StorTrends products. So you're in very good hands with James. Okay, on the slide, we'll take a quick look at the agenda. I'm going to provide just a little bit of information on AMI as a company, who we are and what we do. We'll give you a little bit of background into the StorTrends line of business and the product line, and then at that point, James will take over and provide a overview of the technology and a demonstration of the software GUI. By the way, your phone lines are on mute. That's intentional. We do that simply to block out background noise. Again, if you have a question or comment, you're encouraged to send those in via the questions or chat functionality in the WebEx tool. Okay, a little bit of information on American megatrends. Some of you may have heard of us, some of you may have not. We're most widely recognized in the technology space for our work in BIOS. We are the current market leader in BIOS technology. Roughly half the computers that are shipped across the world today feature that BIOS product. So we have wide customer distribution across the globe. Some of you may even be using our products. Perhaps you don't know it. We also have other lines of business, remote management, and then, of course, the StorTrends data storage line. Our mission is pretty straightforward. We work hard to provide our customers with high-quality products. We want to deliver those products right the first time, and we want to do that every time. A little bit of information on the screen here to show the different lines of business at AMI. We're an industry leader, again, in BIOS, have deep foundational experience in RAID. We developed a RAID card that was eventually purchased by LSI Logic in the early 2000s. Remote management through our MegaRack division, and then, of course, what we're talking about today, the StorTrends product line. All of these products, by the way, are sold on a global basis. Some information quickly on StorTrends as a business. We have over 70 patents related to our StorTrends products. We are first and foremost an engineering company. We put our resources, time, and energy into developing new products and into improving those products we already have. Related to storage, again, our start was with the MegaRAID card that the AMI team developed. Ended up selling that to LSI Logic. That sort of experience was the foundation from which we eventually developed our own data storage product line known as StorTrends. And we sell StorTrends, again, on a global basis, targeting large, medium, and small organizations, public and private sector. I won't get into great detail on this slide. It shows you the different products that are currently in the StorTrends lineup. We will, by the way, make this slide deck available to everybody that attends today's webinar. Today's focus is on the 3400i array, which is a dual controller iSCSI SAN. We also offer single controller products in both a NAS and SAN configuration, and also offer JBODs for capacity expansion. Okay, before I hand it over to James, I'll wrap up with a little bit of information on our customer support organization. It's branded as StorAid. American Megatrends offers StorTrends customers two different StorAid options. There's a kind of standard StorAid, which features live 24/7 phone support from U.S.-based technical support staff, important to note. We also offer, which is pretty unique to our business, direct access to the engineers and developers that build our StorTrends products. Customers, if they have a question, they can go right to the horse's mouth, as it were. Hardware, software warranties in either 1 to 3 year options, and then on-site next business day FRU replacement support. StorAid Plus offers essentially the same thing. The difference in the last bullet there, on-site 4-hour hardware FRU replacement support, and you also get through StorAid Plus a spare parts kit for the StorTrends unit that you've purchased. Additional information can be found on StorTrends.com. We encourage you to visit that site. By the way, we'll be running a number of other webinars this quarter on a range of different topics. We certainly encourage you to attend. A recording of this webinar will be made available soon after its completion, and we'll also make a copy of this slide deck available. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to James. James, you have the floor.
Hey, I hope everybody's doing all right today. What I'll do is cover the slide deck, as Mike pointed out. We'll just cover the highlighted components that brings today's business requirements into play for you and how the 3400 fits into those. And then after that, we'll do a brief demo to show you how the GUI looks and feels. Here you can see we cover today's business requirements. Simplified management, so it's very easy for everybody to access, manage, change features, functionality, and stuff like that. We do play with virtualization. We have Citrix Zen support, VMware support, Hyper-V support. And then we'll also go through all these business continuity, backup recovery, disaster recovery, and of course it's a very efficient storage solution for everybody's storage needs. Just highlighting all these bullet points everybody can read. Business continuity, we have a dual controller SAN. Anything fails within the controller, we fail over to the other controller seamlessly to the OS. This also includes seamless online update support. So if there is a software update, maybe new features get added in, those of course come to you, all inclusive from our StorTrends product. And then also we have full monitoring to ensure that if there is a failure, you will be aware of it, be it disk, be it controller, anything like that. Regarding backup recovery, we do have very simple to use snapshots. They have near zero degradation when taking. We use redirect on write technologies to cover that. Within the GUI, you can see on the right, we have a snapshot timescape. So what you can do is easily just click the left or right button, and you can select which snapshot you'd like to go to. Simply select the review button. You can log into that while all I/O is active, and then you can roll back if that's necessary. The next slide is disaster recovery. Essentially what we do is anything from mirrored server HAs on the left side there at site A to our SBB dual controller unit, which we're talking about mostly today, and then even our 2Us can all replicate to one centralized site. Utilizing our WDS features, we have a WAN optimization, which includes also compressing, deduping, and encrypting the blocks that are being sent across. This lowers your TCO, lowers your recovery point objective on the secondary side, and of course all this is all inclusive to the product. Here are just some sample numbers that we ran. 585 megs worth of data within just no optimization at all, just standard TCP running I/O. It takes about 2 hours and 30 minutes to get that completely sent across the wire. Now, using WAN optimization, compression, deduplication, we narrowed that down to 25 minutes. So you can absolutely see the advantages in utilizing our disaster recovery solution over anybody else's. Storage efficiency. So one thing we do here, we do information lifecycle management through auto-tiering. Obviously, Class 1 can be SAS drives or RAID 10, and then going down to SAT or fatter drives that are configured in a RAID 5 or a RAID 6 or something like that. Older data will migrate down, and you can see this here on the next slide. Your performance is higher at the top tier, your capacity is wider at the bottom tier. So this allows you to have all of your higher accessed I/O in your faster arrays and drive types. Within that ILM feature, we have zone bit recording. What zone bit recording does, it keeps all of the most recently accessed data on the outer tracks of the disks. So now you're getting more data through a spin of the disk. This is definitely more efficient, and when the disk becomes full, it'll migrate data in. As it does that, it'll also migrate data down if you do have ILM support with slower SATA drives or anything like that. Here's just a chart actually showing the GUI utilizing information lifecycle management. You can see the top tier here is the hot zone. Medium zone, you have a little bit of the same kind of access, and then you can see the colder zone has all the older data within it, all the Class 1 data that hasn't been accessed near as recently. Here for the simplified management piece, we have a thing called System Resource Management. Here we do all data collection of any form within the system, from the disk layer all the way up to the volume layer. Here at the bottom you can see workflow management. What it does is it actually makes sure that our system isn't being heavily utilized while we're doing a background function. So now what we do is make sure that we're not doing ILM data migration and stuff like that in the middle of your workday. Sorry about that, it's a little slow. The I/O performance graph here on the top right, you can actually see the blocks of I/O. You can actually see it through throughput or IOPS in different levels, and that's on a per volume basis. So now, any time that you need to know if there's a data throughput issue or anything like that, you can find that from one place right here. The volume performance, again, just shows you instantaneous or your historic values on a per volume basis. Here's just a quick customer snapshot. You can see we cover many different verticals within the SMB market. A lot of our bigger installations include Walgreens, all the way down to local community schools, all sorts of advanced research, etc. We do have a testimonial from that largest customer, Walgreens, and what they say is, would you purchase a StorTrends unit again? And he says, without a doubt. This is the Senior Systems Engineer for Walgreens Infrastructure Solutions. And you can only imagine how much I/O comes through a Walgreens store every day. That all touches a StorTrends 3400i. In the next piece, we will actually go through a demonstration of the StorTrends unit. I have here, we'll swap over to the Rdp session. And if there are any questions, feel free to definitely put those into the chat window, and we'll get to those at the end. Here, I have a Google Chrome session. You can use Firefox or Internet Explorer. You basically put in the IP of the unit, and ITXadmin is our default username, and then we just select the password and click Login. This is a pre-configured unit just so we can go ahead and show you the SRM charts and stuff like that. And what it'll open to is the left pane is our main management pane. Basically, this tree is how we get around the unit. And on the right pane, you can see it opened into the storage information pane. What this does is it shows basically the overview of all the volumes within the unit. Here we can have storage pool 0. We do allow for up to 8 storage pools. And then you can also divide these up into the LUNs. So we have V0 and V1 already created. What we'll do to start off, we'll actually start with one of our wizards. This is one of the things that has really made us shine above the rest. The simplicity, the intuitiveness. So I'll select the SP0 volume or storage pool right here. Select next. We will make a new volume, new V2, 123 gigs, and that's fine right there. We'll save that, and we'll do a new V3. I'll make this 345, and I'll make this a thin provision volume. Select Add to List, and select Finish. We can do this up to 256 volumes. What we'll do here is it'll actually create the volumes for us in the underlying array, create the target associated with it, enable any portals or any sort of firewalling that needs to happen, and then it's available up and running for you to connect with your initiator. And you can see here, new V2, new V3, perfectly available to configure. What we can do is we can actually select our V0, which is an older volume that I created, to run I/O. And I actually have it running 4K random blocks right now, just so we can show it within the charting. You can see this is an overview of the volume. We do support write-back caching as well as write-through caching. Here you can see I'm connected with this system right here. You can enable multipathing, all those sorts of things. And then here's our Snapshot Scheduler. You can see here we do a variety of different levels of snapshots. So if you wanted to keep some for within 5 minutes for the last hour or 2 hours, if you wanted to keep another schedule with the last 5 hours on an hourly basis, you have the availability to do that from one centralized location right here. Just select Update Schedule and you're good to go. And then they'll show up in your snapshot list right here on the left. Very simple to use, and all you have to do is click on it. If you want to mount it or just roll it back, you can do that from right here. Assign a target, and you'd log in and check it out. Starting up at the top of our screen here, we have our header bar here. We have hardware health. And you can see here what I did was I put a special disk in there to show smart errors, so you can see it's yellow. And you can see the status up at the top as well once you hover over it to show what's wrong. We'll click on this here. What it'll show is an actual view of your StorTrends appliance. You can hover over features within here to see the status. So we have this disk right here. SDM, it's a 2 terabyte disk, and you can see the status is online. We have a hot spare right here, fully available just in case you have a disk failure. We can reboot controller or shut it down on a per controller basis here. And then you can also see the actual controller's temperature, CPU information, anything that you may need to know you can find from this one centralized location. You can see the back side. You can see I have network interfaces plugged in here. I don't have them connected though, so it's down. And you can see how that shows up within the health screen here. We do have full event logging, so anybody wants to see informational system events, volume events, if the container becomes full, we'll actually alert you as well via the email alerts. And if configured with StorAid support, we actually will monitor them from the home base here at the Atlanta headquarters. Here in the dashboard, you can see all the variety of features that we support. We do support graceful shutdowns and also caching changing on battery backup. So if the power fails, it'll automatically change from write back to write through caching. We also support bidirectional chat authentication, Microsoft ISNS service, obviously a bunch of different themes. And then we also support having administrator and restricted users in the event that you just want to have somebody be able to see the unit, the status of the unit. You can see moving down the left tree here, system performance. So on a per controller basis, we can see the CPU and the memory utilization within the system. Really just a checklist item. There's really usually anything rarely wrong with the system performance there. Within each system, we also have specific settings, so we have a control panel for them. Here you can set up your teaming. We support ALB, Adaptive Load Balancing Teaming, Transmit Load Balancing, 802.3 AD, and Round Robin Teaming. So whichever flavor you would like, we can select for you. We also can see all of the statistics within the unit on a per NIC basis. So now we can see the I/O transmitted between the two. If you did have a network issue or anything like that, we'd be able to debug that from right here. The storage, this is back at the home screen to where we were before. And what it's doing is loading the settings for each of the volumes and the status of the storage pool. And now we have our SRM charting. Here we have space utilization. So what it'll do is actually show on a container or a volume basis how far your storage that you have within the system will take you. If you think that maybe you want to add a JBOD later, let's add a 16 terabyte JBOD. We can just simply outreach, log into this, and see how far we expect it to take us within here. This view right here can actually slide, so we can actually see the utilization on a daily basis. We can also slide this into a more narrow time. If we're wondering what happened here, we can see the events, volume deletion, so obviously the container space went down. Volume performance, so this does the megabytes per second on the volume. What I'll do is zoom into this section right here. Okay, and you can actually see the writes and reads within the volume on a megabytes per second basis. Here we're just running 4K random writes, so it's not a lot of throughput that gets put onto the volume. And workflow management. So I just turned this on. You can see the actual I/O, which is this yellow right here. And now we're starting to predict what's happening within the system on a given day. ILM background's required here, so it is running it. If it was a normal background activity, such as demotion from the hot tier to the low tier, what it would actually do is wait until I/O has finally died down so that it doesn't impact the performance of the unit. Here, information lifecycle management. As I said before, we have one tier, tier 0, and then we have our cold zone, medium zone, and hot zone. And you can see here I'm basically accessing data from both zones here. What it'll do is slowly migrate this data up to the top tier over time. This is just a storage pool space management report. Good luck saying that 5 times in a row. You can see the capacity used of the 26 terabytes that's available here, because these are 2 terabyte drives. I/O performance, what we'll do is go down to our V0, which we're logged into, and we can actually see the 4K blocks that are coming across. This is 67% random reads and 33% random writes, so this is perfectly in line with the test that's running right now. And then we can also see this on an IOS basis, which will automatically change for us. Okay. And then logical drive performance. What we can see is the latency on the drive. This is just another thing that we do, including smart error predicting. We can actually see if an array becomes out of whack, basically. If it has an out of normal average latency, we can actually predict that there will be a drive failure within that array. If there are no smart errors at the time, then we just have to wait for it to fail, but we can be readily available with a drive to do that for you. Okay, and snap-assisted replication. So this is our disaster recovery piece. What I have is I have a second unit available just to quickly log into and try to, and I actually have it selected right here. ITX admin and password, just like before. What it'll do is log into that unit for us. If we had multiple storage pools, they would show up here. You can see I have C0 here, which is the storage pool there. I will select V0. You can select 1 or up to 256 volumes. There isn't a matching volume on the secondary, so what it'll do is actually automatically create that for us. There are default usernames here. We'll just use those and go forward. And now what it's going to do is actually create those volumes for us with the target, and we'll be able to replicate to those. Okay, and we'll just call this CG0. What we use is consistency groups. We select our IP that we plan on going through. We do support SAR archival, so we can do deduplication on the secondary side. We also support WAN optimization, as we said before. You select your bandwidth. If you have a special bandwidth like we have here, we have 9 megabits coming out of our central office here. And then what we'll do is actually knock this down to 90%, because what it will actually do is use that full bandwidth, and actually that'll be fine. I'll select next here. And these are the features that we have enabled. If I wanted to go back, I forgot to enable deduplication. I can simply go back, enable that. I'll enable compression as well. I'll do medium, say. Select next. Okay, everything looks good over the system, and I'll select finish. And what it'll do is, it's already created the volumes on the secondary side. It'll enable all those features, and through the SAR agent, the Snap Assisted Replication agent, it'll actually start sending snapshots across the wire to that secondary system. What we can do is actually see this system right here. We'll do a refresh. You can see that it's not here, those volumes aren't here before. And I need to log in. And you can see here, secondary replication V0 is available. And you can also see that the pair is down here at the bottom. Automatically created for you. It's mounted the snapshot, and it's replicating them as we speak. And that sums up the demonstration of the basic features for the StorTrends 3400i. I guess it's now to the Q&A session with Mike Tyne.
All right, James, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And of course, if there's something that you didn't ask but would like to, you're welcome to send us an email. We'll be sending out follow-up communications after the completion of the webinar. I do have a list of questions that have come in, James, so I'm just going to go ahead and read these in the order that I received them. If for some reason you feel I haven't represented your question the right way, you're welcome to send me a chat message. Again, my name is Mike Tyne. First one, James, how often is data migrated from the top tier to lower tiers and vice versa?
Okay, for the auto tiering, basically we do it once an hour. And one thing it will do is not send data if workflow management shows that the system is under heavy load during the workday.
Okay. Next question. Does StorTrends support multi-site to one replication?
Okay, absolutely. We support any of our StorTrends units over to either a 3400i dual controller unit or to any of the single controller units.
Great. Next one. Is there any system performance degradation when taking snapshots from multiple volumes at the same time?
Okay, that one's a little more in depth. So what we support are redirect on write snapshots. What this is an instantaneous pointer that gets taken onto the disk. So there's little to no overhead at all, and it takes within milliseconds to create. The copy on write snapshots, which some of our competitors do, that actually will take a snapshot and it'll actually take that data and copy it over to a whole separate location in the event that somebody wanted to change it or check on it at a later time.
Great. Okay, just a few more questions. And of course, we're willing to stick around for however long we're getting them. We do have the time. Is there downtime when upgrading or updating a SAN from StorTrends? And I assume this applies to the 3400 or really any of our other products?
Yeah, so obviously with a single controller unit, there will be downtime in rebooting the unit, such as our 1300 or our 2400 units. If our single controller units are put in HA mode, they actually can be upgraded with zero downtime, and they'll do it basically on a unit at a time while maintaining a consistent I/O flow to the initiator. For the 3400i, it is absolutely seamless as well, just as in the single controller units in high availability mode. And what it does is simply controller at a time. I/O keeps on going to from the initiator to the unit, and everything's absolutely seamless.
Great. All right, another question around replication. Does the replication and auto tiering, do those features require separate licenses?
Oh, absolutely not. Our StorTrends units all come with an all-inclusive software license. When it comes to purchasing a unit, all you're purchasing is our hardware, our full software, and then whatever disk types that you're requiring for throughput or I/O.
Okay. And then a question about support. This person would like to know what support options exist.
Okay, as you said before, actually, we do have 3-year and 1-year options, and those are extendable by a year. The storage support is 24/7 U.S. Answered phone and email, and then also we have 4-hour on-site with the Fruit Kit available if that's required by the customer.
Great. Okay, I'll do a final call for questions. If the host could check to see if there are any additional ones as well, that'd be great.
Okay.
All right, going once, going twice, final check. See if anybody has their hand raised. All right, well, we promised we'd get you out of here in time, and it looks like we're going to hold true to that promise. Hopefully you got a good overview and understanding of the 3400i product and AMI as a business and kind of where we're going and what we're doing with the StorTrends product line. It's a very competitive product. It's great for small and medium businesses. We have customers, as James noted, in both the public and private sector. If you're considering a storage purchase in the next year, next 6 months, whatever, I think you'd be served well by taking a look at us. We have those great enterprise features, and we give them at a very affordable price point. As I mentioned, this webinar has been recorded. We will make that recording available to all of you in a follow-up. You'll also have access to the deck that was shown today. James, I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your day. And with that, we'll go ahead and close today's webinar. Thank you, everyone.